Hey everybody, welcome in that new Golaem tutorial which will show how to write footprints for FBX Motion files. From Golaem 9, we've been introducing the support for FBX animations natively. So it now means that you don't have to convert your motions to GMO anymore. You can just directly play FBX's animation onto your characters. One question that you might ask yourself is, okay, FBX is storing everything for the animation, so animation positions, orientation, scales, and so on, but what about footprints? Because footprints are such an important information for Golaem, especially for motion blending, for locomotion. So how are you supposed to write that data out for Golaem to be able to read it properly? So if we look at the new interface for the motion clip, so let's drag and drop a motion behavior here. It comes with an empty motion clip. We have additional attributes there, which allows you to use the FBX, select the take you may want to have. So takes are a way to store multiple animations within the same FBX file. And there's something called support property name. So property is the FBX word for attributes. So within Maya, you call them attributes. Within FBX, they're called properties. So here it's just saying that you can specify on which property of your FBX is stored the footprint keyframed information. So I'm gonna go to my skeleton here. Let's pretend it's animated. Here I just put a keyframe on the arm to make sure we recognize that motion. But what we'll do is we're gonna add custom attributes on everything which is a leg in contact information, so specifically foot here. And keyframe that value, write it out as an FBX and load it on my simulation side to make sure that everything happened properly. So let's select my foot here, which will be in contact with the ground. So this is the bone called right foot here, and this is the left foot there. So what I'll do is I'll go into the attribute panel there, into the attribute editor. I'll just do an add attributes, and I'm going to specify a name. So you can put the name you would like. Just make sure that you're going to write the exact same name for all the legs you're having, all the feet you're having onto your characters. So I'm going to call this in contact, for example. I'm going to make sure it's a floating value there, and I'm going to add it. As soon as you add this attribute, it will be added at the end of the extra attributes panel here. So now we can see we got something called in contact with a default value of 0, and we can set some keys on it. Great. So let's do the exact same thing. Let's make sure that we name it exactly the same name with the same uppercases and lowercase. So it's a floating value, and that's added as well. And now we have both. So when you set keyframes onto do's, make sure that you write the keyframes from the first value here. So I'm going to write a keyframe here. I'm going to say from frame 1 to 50, the value will be 0, meaning it's not in contact. And from 50 to the end, I'm gonna set it to 1. Set key. So here it's 0, and as soon as I switch to frame 50, it's 1. Okay. So this is for one of my feet here, and let's do this one of my foot. Sorry, and I'll do something similar for the other one. So I'm gonna probably go into frame 1 here, set it to 1 this time here. Do a set key here. Maybe I'll do it, I change at a different frame. So I set it to 1 there, set key, and put it to 0 back. So 1 means it's in contact with the ground, 0 means it's not. And to be clear, you can use floating values here. We consider it's in contact with the ground as soon as the value is above 0.5, and we'll consider that it's floating if the value is below 0.5. So here we're having, and let's maybe make another keyframe. Let's go back to 1 here. So let's put a key there and set it back to 1 there. So now we've got 1. Oops, sorry. Up. This is on the other one. We've got 1, 0, and 1, 1, 0, 1. Okay, great. So practically, it means that you have to connect probably your read controls to write that value automatically for you in a bone attribute. If it's stored on the rig, this is not something which will be stored into the FBX, so you want to make sure it's actually stored on the bones, and this is how we're going to read that. So you can connect your rig with Maya connections to make sure that this is written properly here and made automatically for you whenever you export an FBX animation. So I'm gonna select my root bone here. I'm gonna do a select hierarchy. I'm gonna go into export selection, make sure that I'm using the FBX export. Keep in mind that you can just use the default media entertainment settings because they include animations within it. What I just do here is I'll just go into the FBX file format. I'll go into ASCII. This is not something which is mandatory. I just want to show you how it gets written out afterwards. So I'm gonna save this as an FBX animation tests. Okay, and if I dive into this and I'm looking for in contact, we'll notice that on the left foot there's a P. P stands for property. This is the remember, this is the attribute name for FBX. So in contact, it's a number, meaning it's a floating value, and keyframe, and the keyframe are going to be stored elsewhere in another place into the file. And you got the same with the right foot here. So here you get a sense that it's been written out properly as a property on your bone, and probably now if we jump into the sim, we can expect this to work properly. So let's go into my motion clip, enable it onto my characters. Let's load my FBX animation test and move into the motion clip. If we do a preview, we'll notice that here the feet, we can see the footprints there, and we notice that the feet there are in contact with the ground. This is because we haven't specified the support property named yet, so that will be our duty to do so. So now I can specify in contact is the name of the support property that we want to take into account. And if I want to make sure that it worked out properly, I can go into my preview again here. And now we can see we've got the first animation that we've been doing where we enable the footprint, disable it, and re-enable it. And as soon as we move to frame 50, now the second footprint gets enabled. So now it's been written out properly, and it's read by Golaem properly. And if you're about to use that motion into a locomotion or into a blending action within Golaem, it will be taking into account to create that nice blending that you would expect. And also ground adaptation will depend on that, obviously, as well. So I hope that makes sense, and see you into the next video.